2 tickets to Aladdin, compliments of Providence and KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Hey guys, I'm Heidi Priebe. Before you get started on this video, I just wanted to hop in. As I was editing it, I didn't feel 100% right about this video because I never gave a disclaimer at the beginning, which I am now editing in at this point, to let you know that I am not a licensed trauma therapist. This is not professional or clinical advice around handling triggers. So there's a lot of different things that we tend to use the word trigger to reference. So sometimes we use the word trigger to reference a PTSD or CPTSD reaction, which can be very intense, very overwhelming for the nervous system. And for a lot of people, specifically if you have not had trauma-informed care in the past, it can be really difficult to try to implement in-the-moment solutions for dealing with those triggers. And I want to emphasize that if that's something you're struggling really intensively with, this video might not be the video that's going to help you with that particular problem. This video is just going to be about cultivating mindfulness whenever you can and wherever you can around your smaller scale trigger responses. This is not meant to be professional mental health advice. It's more using the word trigger to describe the kind of smaller scale, almost more pop culture definition of the word trigger, which might actually be more reminiscent of having an extremely strong emotional reaction to something that isn't entirely present. But again, I just want to make that clear because there can be a very giant sliding scale between what triggers mean to different people. So it could be a slightly exaggerated response for one person, and it could be a complete amygdala hijack for the next person. If you struggle immensely with triggers, I really recommend you get the help of a professional therapist or counselor who can help you work through those. My therapist has actually very recently helped me work through my single biggest trigger that I literally thought I would have for the rest of my life. And so I know firsthand that that can be extremely important work to engage in, and I just want to make clear that that's not what this video is. This video is about mindfulness around triggers only. Okay, now we will properly get started. Hey guys, Heidi Priebe here. So today's video is one that I have been joking I'm gonna make for a while, but I decided to actually sit down and make because I think that there is a very specific and particular thing that often keeps us from choosing secure responses in moments of heightened emotion, which is the inability to distinguish when we are triggered versus when we are accurately picking up on something that is happening in our environment that is unfair and that we ought to react to with anger or with pushback or by asserting our need for boundaries, right? So I think that a lot of us, myself included, often have this kind of black and white thinking where it's like, okay, either I am completely wrong and the other person is completely right and my reaction is pure 100% trigger response, or I am completely justified, I am correct about my need to be offended and upset, and therefore, whatever I say next is also completely justified. And I think that this absolutely false dichotomy we create accounts for why so many of us who are well-versed in attachment theory, in triggers, who have a lot of self-awareness around what comes up for us in what situations, still get stuck in this trap time and time again of going, no, this time it's not a trigger response. This time I'm perfectly justified in standing up for and fighting for myself. And I am here to clarify that it can be both, and that is the problem. There can be situations in which, and I would argue more often than not, the situations in which we get triggered are situations where true injustice is happening, where we truly ought to stand up for ourselves, where assertiveness and drawing boundaries are actually needed. But because we can have that kind of all or nothing thinking where we think either I'm triggered, therefore I'm being irrational about the entire situation, Or if there's a true reason to be upset, I must not be triggered. I must be completely justified in everything that I'm feeling. We can fail to see the nuance that would allow us to actually resolve situations where we truly ought to stand up for ourselves and defend ourselves properly. Because when we have a true offense that happens, something that we truly ought not to stand for, but there's a trigger response that happens on top of that, often our reactions are so over the top that they get written off completely. So for example, let's say someone is speaking to me unkindly, and maybe my body gets a bit defensive and I'm like, ooh, I'm on alert all of a sudden, right? But let's say also I'm having all of these memories, all of these flashbacks flooding my brain of other times I've been spoken to unkindly. I'm telling myself a very strong and very intense story about what it means that that person is speaking to me unkindly. And so now I'm reacting not just to what they've said, but I'm reacting to every person who has ever spoken to me unkindly and all of the emotions.
Lord have mercy. Do you know how many people have been discarded after they have triggered another person? Discarding a person who triggered you. And I'm not talking about somebody, who was violent or any. That's why I had to make sure we made that distinction that Reggie brought up. But discarding a person that triggers you is like going out on a date with a man just for food. We don't see the trigger as spiritual currency. I know people don't want to think of it that way. But to be triggered is a gift. You're being offered insight into yourself. Do you see how we've turned relationships into a Travis shamockery? It's a travesty. It's a sham. It's a mockery. It's based on getting. I'm here for what I want. The outcome, the certainty, the safety, the predictability, the comfort, whatever we've said to ourselves that we deserve, right? But if you're really about self-actualization, as Paramahansa Yogananda called it, or self-realization, as Abraham Maslow called it, Buddha called it moksha. If you're really about elevating and actually experiencing love, the real thing, not Barbie and Ken, right? I'm talking about the real spiritual experience. That's what triggers offer you. When we say relationship as a mirror, it's mirroring back to you your personal curriculum, self-curriculum. You take that information, you study it, you take your own internal exam, you pass it, you elevate, you matriculate to a higher level of understanding and even a higher level of relating. Here we go. Let's get our peoples in here. We got Drea from Los Angeles, California. Drea, what are your thoughts? It's Dana. Dana. Hey, Dana from LA. What up?
Hi. Can you hear me?
We can. How are ya?
I am good, and you?
I am alive and well.
Good. I heard your topic was on triggers, and I thought I'd call in. So.
Well, please share with us. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic so far?
My thoughts on tonight's topic of triggers is triggers are pain ready to be healed. Are you ready to deal with the triggers is the question. And so I thought of my own personal experience around triggers, and that also prompted me to call in. So I recently took a class on public policy. Everything is good. We're meeting all these political people, blah, blah, blah. Well, we have to do a class project. So where they had us do this study and fill it out, and then they matched us according to the study. So we're dealing with all these other people. Well, during the class, I was so engrossed in meeting political people and making connections and developing relationships, because that's what I was there for, I didn't really, I would say, so into my group. And so they had bonded and did everything they were going to do, and I was kind of on the outskirts. And so when it came down to the class project, I did my part. I gave it, I gave it to whoever was supposed to have it, and then they were bonding together, putting it together, and I felt left out on that, and it triggered me. And so I took accountability for those triggers and like, what did I do along the way or not do to be vulnerable enough to these other people that I could bond with them also? I became so focused on what I was there for that I really didn't pay them too much mind because I wasn't there for them.
Right. I'm not here for this. I didn't sign up for this, right?
Well, I didn't sign to bond with these women and be vulnerable, but that was part of the class project. I was like, I know what to do for my piece that was given to me. Here it is. Now go forth.
Wow. And how did it make you feel when you felt like you were on the outskirts?
Well, I felt left out, and that triggered me in a way from childhood trauma of always being the smart person in the class or the black girl in the class. And that's how I felt. But I spoke up about it. I actually was confrontational, but
you Sagittarius. I know you, Dana. You Sagittarius. I know you was confrontational. Keep going.
And so that's how I felt, but I had to deal with that trigger. I had to deal with being triggered by being left out, and I just spoke up about it. We were told to fill out a contract at the beginning of the class that we were going to be respectful to one another, and I had to go back to that contract and, speak up about my part and what I did not hold up about.
So do you think it was an abandonment wound that was triggered?
I think it was an abandonment wound, but also being vulnerable. Because I think for black women, we are told in a lot of ways to stand up and be strong, and we don't know how to be vulnerable with other people, or we're too vulnerable, we're too emotional, or we're just strong. And so I think I was dealing with an abandonment trigger and also a vulnerability trigger.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you took accountability for it. I so appreciate you. Come on.
I did.
Dana.
I took accountability for it, and I just was like, I apologize. I wanted something out of this course, and I got what I came here for, and it was not to bond with the four of you, but I apologize for that.
I love Dana. Dana, guess what you just did? Tell them your real city. Guess what you just did?
Pasadena.
Pasadena in the building. We appreciate the call. If you want to bring your city in the building, I'm looking for Houston, Texas to get back in here. But we got Oakland, California, and we've got Dallas, Texas. When I come, I got time? All right, let me get my brother Sean in here real quick. Sean, Oakland, California, talk to me. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Oh, it's a great topic. So, look, I have a version of PTSD. So I want to tell everyone that has that, for whatever reasons, being in, the world of war or other reasons, serious conflicts, that the whole point of it is that you need to have a support group, right? So if you're in a relationship where someone's just trying to push your buttons all the damn time to make you have to go to these places of, stress, you got to get out quickly, right? Because you have a support group. That's why I call Zoda the man. I call you because you're, I don't have everything's good with me. Everything's going well. But I call you because I know you'll be there for me as a support group. So make sure you have that support group, people. But please do not get into those relationships or stay in them when they know they're pushing your buttons. They're pushing your buttons just to stress you out. You know what? Life's hard enough as it is. Let's make sure to get around people that want to have a positive energy.
I love it, Sean. Guess what you just did, my friend?
Oakland.
Oakland, town business, Bay Area, yay area, stand up when I come forward. We got Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas on the line.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit LAFLA.org. LAFLA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had leaf filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
the start of working with people, I jump on calls with them, a free chat to discuss what it is that they're looking for. And this week, I want to spend some time answering with you a question that I get asked time and time again. And that is around, and this is on these calls, that people often, before we start working together, come with a very familiar struggle. The question is around, how do I actually self-soothe? Because, Carly, I have read everything. I know the tools, I know the strategies, I know logically the information, yet still when it comes down to it, I act out in that moment. My anxiety takes over. I'm in a state of despair. I'm sending those 10 messages. I feel so numb. And it's like you're trying so hard. And actually, sometimes you are seeing results, and then something happens and you find yourself under that stress again, where self-soothing can feel impossible in those moments. And the question is around, I have the awareness, how do I actually put it into practice? Who can relate to that? Who can relate to being aware of your insecure attachment patterns? Who can relate to reading all of the information, to knowing the logic, to knowing the education, but struggling when it comes to your day-to-day life and the way that you navigate dating and navigate your relationship with your partner? Who can relate to that? And wow, the feeling afterwards when we're like, how am I back here again? That's who I'm working with. That's who I'm helping. And so this is what I want to discuss with you. Hopefully that was helpful, just to hear that, to know that this does not just happen to you, that I know for sure. So you may or may not know, it depends on if you're new around here or not. So I'm Carly Ann. I'm a holistic attachment coach. I work with people around healing relationship patterns, relationship wounds that keep showing up time and time again, and you're struggling to make that long-term change, and it's impacting your relationships with yourself or with others. And I work based on 6 core pillars when I'm working with people. The secure pillars is the acronym. And the very first pillar, giving this away, you can get access to all the pillars, I'll put them in the bio, is around self-in-presence. Okay, this is where I really support you to create that change in the moment. This is when I'm helping you to move out of living in that state of reactivity, when you're in just an ocean of emotions that hijack you and take over, and you act out of character despite what you know, the logic. And sometimes we can see ourselves. Presence is more than awareness. Presence is not getting rid of a difficult situation or a confusing situation. We go through these transitional periods in life. We go through endings and new beginnings. Presence is around, how do I be with this experience without avoiding, without losing my sense of self, without acting out of character? How do I pause, choose my responses to the best of my ability, humanness, allow humanness, and not react in a way that I'm later possibly going to regret or just feel awful about? Not that we need to, because that's part of the process as well, but it's this step, I guess, after awareness. So if you have the awareness, that is amazing, it really is. And now we want to move over into, how do we be present with what you're experiencing without that having to lead in to acting out, without it having to lead into like the reactive moment. So this is what we're looking at. So how do you create self-in-presence? Well, there is a really long list, as you might not be surprised to hear, because there's not a one-size-fits-all.
And listen, it's difficult to pause. I struggle to pause. Sometimes those triggers, man, they make us athletic, psychologically athletic. We're going to speak. We're going to say how we feel because we were triggered. And the reality of it is, we all probably need some therapy. We all need to go call Dr. Jashana Johnson, Dr. Sunshine, Sister Shalonda Crawford. We need these types of folk to sit down and kind of peel the layers back so we can kind of understand who we are and how we're going to show. Listen to what I'm about to say. How we're going to show up under pressure. because relationships, that's the crucible of you. That's going to either turn you, it has the capability of transforming you from a lump of coal into a diamond. But you got to be accepting of the pressure that comes with it. So we're going to try to utilize triggers for healing, exploring the utilization of triggers for healing. We, confront the shadowy realms of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD, and diverse adverse experiences. How can we harness the power of triggers to unravel the knots of our past trauma and embark upon a journey of profound healing and self-discovery? When you get into mindfulness and meditation and yoga, because part of healing has to do with the body, it has to do with the central nervous system. You start moving the body because a lot of your trauma is stored in your body. So you get moving, but you're not moving in the sense where, you're thinking about your trauma. You're just moving, right? Because, when you start exercising, the brain releases a cocktail of hormones, endorphins, and all types of stuff, and that's good for you. But more importantly, when I start talking about the spiritual aspect of mindfulness it reminds me of Krishnamurti. You knew I was going to mention him. One of his statements was, the highest form of intellect is to be able to observe without judgment. When you can take the judgment out of observing yourself and observing what you're going through, you may learn how to pause. But many times we are rushing towards an answer when an answer probably isn't available, and we need to sit still. When I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. We getting deep in here. We only got, 23 minutes left in this show after the break? Man, this show flew. I just got started. All right, when we come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. I want to talk to everybody. Let's get it.
Go on being confused and placing blame. My heart knows that you're my number one. Do you feel the same way too?
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Donald Payne, a black six-term congressman from New Jersey, has passed away. The 65-year-old Newark Democrat died after suffering a heart attack earlier this month. The congressman suffered a series of health issues through the years. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement wants to suspend Black Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney. The state agency on Monday asked the judge to suspend Toney for 6 months. Toney is accused of lying on his driver's license application when he claimed it was never suspended. The FDLE says that's an act of moral turpitude, and Toney broke the public's trust. The first trailer is being released for Zoe, Kravitz' directional debut, Blink Twice. The film follows two friends charmed by a tech billionaire played by Channing Tatum and are taken to his private island for a getaway. Things take a turn into a life or death situation, and the women must find a way to escape the island. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
NexGard Plus, Afoxalon or Moxidectin and Pyrantel chewable tablets, is the one you want for your dog's monthly protection. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your veterinarian about NexGard Plus Chews today.
Hi, I'm Reverend Gerald, host of Urban Family Focus here on KBLA Talk 1580s on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. In an effort to help reduce the impact of hypertension in our community, Providence is offering free hypertension assessments. The first 30 people to visit KBLA KBLA1580.com and use the link or QR code to register will receive 2 tickets to the Amazing Grace Conservatory presentation of Aladdin, A Whole New World for Real, at the Crenshaw Performing Arts Center, May 25th and 26th. Go to KBLA1580.com right now and be one of the first 30 to register for your hypertension screening and receive 2 tickets to Aladdin, compliments of Providence and KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's blkstudentsuccess.com.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
That was another way. I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. You know, I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you ever accidentally stepped near an angry rattlesnake while on a hike? I have, and I can tell you that the brain and body's reflexive response is powerful. You feel this jolt of adrenaline, a pulse of fear, and an intense desire to get away. Our brain is designed to keep us safe, so it's got this built-in mechanism to help us remember dangers on a subconscious level. It pairs something that is dangerous, like a rattlesnake, with the fight-flight-freeze reaction, which is that surge of adrenaline and fear. This is an instinctual response that it keeps us alive in the face of real threats. But sometimes when we're exposed to extreme fear or trauma, our brain pairs something that is actually safe with that danger reaction. And these are called triggers. The psychological term for triggers is paired association, meaning that a neutral stimulus gets linked with a physiological reaction, like the fight-flight-freeze response. I've worked with clients who are triggered by radiators, grasshoppers, backpacks, and loud chewing noises. But the most common type of trigger is when people have an intense anxiety reaction to thinking about or talking about something frightening, like past trauma or assault. Unfortunately, because anxiety is uncomfortable, the most common response to triggers is to avoid them. But every time we avoid something that is safe and survive, our brain thinks, let's do that again. And it actually increases our anxiety around that stimulus. Avoidance increases anxiety. And avoidance can take many forms, like staying at home, using substances, endless distraction, or using blame or anger to escape that discomfort. But regardless of the type of avoidance, the result is always the same. Avoidance grows anxiety. However, you don't have to be trapped in cycles of fear and avoidance for the rest of your life. You can actually rewire your brain to no longer have that anxiety response around triggers. Facing triggers in a safe way can unpair that danger response. So every time you face a trigger and you sit with it for a minute and you breathe through it, every time you do that and survive, which you will, your brain learns, ooh, that was safe. Let's do that again. And it decreases your anxiety reaction around that trigger. Your brain literally unpairs the stimulus from the anxiety response. You untrigger the trigger. Now, facing triggers can look like talking about them in therapy, writing about them, or just sitting with something that scares you. When you feel the fear and do it anyway, you can literally rewire your brain to have a different reaction to thoughts and situations that previously scared you. How cool is that? This video is the super...
Fire! 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 We've been on fire all night tonight. We got callers from all over the country, you know, Voice of Reason, Zoe Williams, KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, I just want to ask, toot my horn. Andy, is there another relationship talk show in America, in the world, that is remotely close to the hot monkey lava we unleash every night?
You really want a response?
I really want to know.
You really want an answer?
I really want an answer.
No.
Hey, not even close. We different over here, man. We are different. And that's why I love doing the show. I'm going to have the tough conversations. And these are the type of discussions we're going to enter into. Now, we don't claim to be right about everything, but what we are doing is cultivating and curating a powerful discussion that stretches across the country on a nightly basis. And that means a lot. Speaking of that, Truemonger, Dallas, Texas, get in here.
Yes, sir.
What up, bro? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Oh, boy.
I know he like it. Oh, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, triggers serve a purpose. Whether you accept it or not is on you. Triggers are going to happen. It's all about how you handle them. If you're spiritually or emotionally immature, you're going to try to avoid them, deflect from them, try and find distractions, all that. But if you're really trying to grow, you got to face them. At some point, you got to face them and deal with them. You got to answer the question as to what triggers you and why. Because the trigger don't care about your feelings. It's just like weights, they don't care about your feelings. Triggers are another, in a way, is another form of a challenge. It's a life challenge. They're going to come at you whether you want them to or not, from all kinds of directions. How are you going to deal with it? But in order to even deal with it, you got to acknowledge it. You got to face them. Because everybody that you're going to come across is not going to know what triggers you until it actually happens. Now, you might be dealing with some people who know you and always try to push those buttons. And then again, it's still on you because how you respond to that is on you.
So
it takes some growth and maturity.
You know what I'm getting from what you're saying? It reminds me of the Holnicks. Ronald and Mary Holnick. They have a university here in Santa Monica called University of Santa Monica. All these spiritual folk, New Agers, go over to this university. I don't think they're accredited, but the Tony Robbins, the Lisa Nichols, the Iyanla Vanzants, they all know about the Holnicks. And they have a book called Loyalty to Your Soul. And one of the profound statements in that book was, it's not the issue that is your issue. It's how you respond to the issue that is your issue. So when you say what you're saying, Truemonger, that's what comes to mind. Like the trigger and how it causes you to respond is the real issue. And all this person who is in your life did was lift up a rock, and there was the rattlesnake, which was the trigger. Right. You see? He said, talk to us, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little stinger. It's going to make you aware and alert that you need to be paying attention to something, or else it wouldn't bother you. But at the same time, if it does bother you, it means it's something you need to deal with. If you keep pushing it to the side, keep pushing it to the back, it's still gonna be there. It's gonna be there until you turn around.
But wait,
Actually
True.
face it.
But wait, True.
Mm-hmm.
You going at everybody right now. What
Mm-hmm.
you're saying is absolutely counterintuitive. And I'm going to tell you why. Do you know what everybody's basic response to being triggered is? You know what's normalized?
Emotional reaction.
Leave.
Emotional reaction.
It's leave.
Yeah.
It's run.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nobody really understands the psychological purpose of it. Sometimes, go back to what I said during the break, Krishnamurti, right? The highest form of intelligence is to be able to observe without judgment. If you're in a relationship with somebody you love and you get triggered and your best reaction is to run. Now, I'm not saying don't table a situation. I'm not saying don't take a timeout. I'm not saying any of that. But if your best response is to evade, is to ghost, is to stop talking, is to shut down, your focus should be on why is it that in the crucial moment, Kobe Bryant, 6 seconds on the clock, down 2, we gonna run a play for him in the wing, he gonna hit a 3, we gonna win the game. His mindset is so still and so quiet. Many of us can look at Kobe and marvel at the greatness of that the brother once had. We can marvel at that, but it takes a certain mindset to quiet down everything and be able to pause in that moment in order to show up present.
Right.
Many people in relationships can't do that. They respond. This hurts. This is bad. This was disrespectful. I got to move. Does it make sense?
Yeah, because they're reacting out of emotion and they think they're being judged instead of actually taking in what's being said. Because I've experienced it. I experienced it in every relationship I had. Just from asking questions, they get triggered and they avoid the conversation, and they'll stop talking, and then it may come up years after the fact. It's like, I don't know why I reacted that way. Like, I know.
Right.
You just need to acknowledge it.
Oof.
But then that's where the accountability comes in because they still fail to acknowledge it. So I'm like, at this point, because I may be a little bit more spiritually mature than the people I've dealt with. I don't throw it in their face. I am where I am at that point. Well, you are where you are at that point. It is for you to learn those lessons. Because what they may be going through right now, I've probably already been through. But me explaining it still won't hit them as like them experiencing it. Sometimes people just have to figure things out the hard way.
I love it, True. I love it.
All the talking in the world is not gonna help them.
Ain't gonna help.
Sometimes they just gotta feel it.
Yeah. Sometimes Cool Mo D used to say, sometimes you gotta let people crash. That's where the greatest realization is. You need to crash because you're not listening to the insight of others. So maybe you should just, life has a way of causing you to hit, hit the wall, so to speak. True Monger, I appreciate you, brother. Guess what you just did?
Yes, sir. Just brought Dallas in the building.
Dallas, Texas in the building. When we come forward, we going to Houston, Texas, and of course, Mountain View, Hawaii.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, You report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
City of Los Angeles tenants and landlords participating in the Emergency Renters Assistance Program, beware of scammers. Notifications about your application will only come from the City of LA in emails ending in lacity.org. Protect yourself. Contact the LA Housing Department by email at lahd.erap@lacity.org or call 866-557-7368 to check communications you receive about the program. You can also verify your application status at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to the SOS Band. My playlist has been my co-host all night. We've been on fire. We got 2 more callers. This has been an amazing show, man. An amazing show. And I want to get these final callers in here because they have something to say, and I know it's going to add to it. Attila from Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Uncle Phil, okay, so real quick, you made a statement about, quote unquote, choosing better. So I wanted to respond to it. So I said in the chat that I'm convinced that when people think they're choosing better, they're either asking to be repaired, enabled, or disguised. So you see what I'm saying? So basically, I'm trying to not run out of time, but basically you either want somebody to fix you, you want somebody to tell you basically that nothing that you did is wrong and that your triggers are correct and assuage your ego, or you want them to hide your darkness using their light. All of those are a no-go. But yeah, love y'all. Bye.
Attila from Houston, Texas. Let's zip all the way over to Hawaii. What up, my brother John? Aloha. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Aloha, Zoe. Greetings, chat. Just a few words. I'm reminded of Houdini and the analogy of today's topic. Life is like a dance. In order to keep in step, you got to let the music play.
Say more. Go deeper. I like that. You got it. You got another minute? Come on, give me some more. You can't just lay the hot sauce on the meat just yet, brother. Talk to us.
Well, take yourself through a shower incident, put soap in your eye. And one thing that you could do is either run out of the shower because you're panicking because of the pain in your eye, or because you have water running, you can open up your eye and relieve yourself.
John, I love you, brother. I love you. Yes, that's wisdom.
Sometimes standing on your square is the best place to be. That's all I got, Zoe.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for bringing Mountain View, Hawaii in the building. And once again, let me just tell y'all, man, relationships are beautiful. Relationships are transformative. Relationships can elevate you to God-level consciousness. Relationships are a conduit for apotheosis, right? It can raise you to God-level consciousness, but it won't be easy. It's a harder climb than Mount Everest. It is. With all the provisions that you need, it's still a way more difficult climb because it is climbing the mountain of self. And it's an inverted mountain, right? The shadow, the pain, the neglect, the abandonment, the abuse, the indifference, right? When you start climbing that internal inverted mountain and you do it without judgment, you start to transform who you are. And when you transform who you are, you become a beacon of light in the universe that attract like people. Every person is an opportunity to be exposed. And we should embrace that. The triggers are an opportunity to be reminded that we're not done. If you're alive without pain, you've conquered your triggers. If you still have pain about you, come on, you still got triggers. If you can still be triggered, you still got work. We started the conversation, you finish it. My brother Tavis Smiley is up next on the 9 p.m. Tavis Smiley, we appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'll be back tomorrow with another slapper. Deuces.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.